everyone, it's Rosalind. I am so glad you're here. Today I thought I would give you a tour of the cut flower garden. There is so much beauty in there right now. There's also some things that are fading out, but the dahlias have started blooming, so I thought I would show you some of the cut flowers that we grow, and then I would give you a tour of the front of the garden as well as the west side of the garden. So let's hop right in. I have recently shown you the east side of the garden, the cottage garden, but I might pop in there and show you a few of the things that are blooming. But I'm mostly going to focus on the front of the garden, and then we'll hop into the cut flower garden, show you what's growing in there, and then we'll go around on the west side. On this side of the entrance of the garden, there is a crabapple, and black-eyed Susans are in bloom. There is a firelight hydrangea that is just starting to bud up, and some of the flowers are actually turning pink already. I have a midnight masquerade penstemon right there. This daylily, I'm not sure what the variety is, but oh, I love that color. It's like a apricot, and then there's a rose in this rose color in the center. Very beautiful. This is a David Austin rose, and I have just recently cut it back a little bit, but there is still a few blooms on here. Very bright pink color. The lilies are done blooming. Then there's a little evergreen that I planted just last spring. Then the serendipity alliums are almost in bloom, starting to bud up. This is I think a drift rose. It doesn't have a whole lot of petals. Then I have a grass right here, the peonies, and the Russian sage is starting to bloom. It's looking so pretty. The clematis that grows on both sides of the arbor is almost done blooming. There's still a few blooms left. And on this side, there's more Russian sage, peony, grass, and then on this side, I have a knockout rose that I recently planted, still very small. And the tall garden phlox are starting to bloom. Then I have another little evergreen right there and another allium. The hibiscus is almost getting ready to bloom. It's all budded up. Then I have another daylily back in there, another crabapple, and I have a little garden bench under the crabapple. And then this is a Pinky Winky hydrangea, also starting to bud up, almost blooming. Another midnight masquerade penstemon and a baby peony. Then there is some creeping phlox right in the corner, backed up with the tall grass. As we head into the cut flower garden, this is my favorite view. Oh, looks magical as you head into the cut flower garden. I'm going to turn around and show you what it looks like on this side of the arbor. There are some rudbeckia. I had to think what they're called. I started these from seed 2 years ago, and they're still going strong. Looks so pretty. There's some hollyhocks that I started from seed just this spring. Those are growing quite tall. This is feverfew that I use in my cut flower bouquets. And I had one sweet pea plant that survived from those that I started from seed, but it does look very pretty and smells so good. On this side of the garden, I have all of our vegetable growth, and then on this side is all of the cut flowers. I do have a few flowers right in here on this side of the pathway. This is a flowering tobacco called Peach Screamer. I got these seeds from Floret Flower Farms. And then there's one zinnia right there. This is a flower that I love using as a filler flower in bouquets. It's called Winged Everlasting. So delicate and beautiful. On this end of the Winged Everlasting, there is some pin cushions that are starting to bud up. There's actually one plant down here that has started blooming. It's just a white pin cushion flower. Love these in bouquets as well. And this, what is it called? Scabiosa. I had to think a little bit. I have all of the sunflowers in the back. I did cut from these quite a bit, so there's only a few that are actually in bloom right now. I thought I'd pop around to the back so you can see some of the sunflowers that are actually in bloom. There is I think this one is called Ring of Fire. I absolutely love the yellow flowers with the dark center. I have a few that have more of a deep maroon color. On this end of the sunflowers, I have a few cosmo plants. There's some China asters. On this side, there is more statice. And some of the cosmos have just started blooming down here. This is called apricota, and it's got like an apricot pinkish rosish color. Not sure how to describe it. And then all of the zinnias. Now I planted only 2 varieties of zinnias, but from this one variety, can you see the color variation? Isn't that beautiful? And then I have the white zinnias, some snapdragons that I started from seed. And as you can see, I do not stake my plants like I should, so some of them do flop over. Now, not all of the dahlias are blooming yet, but this is the Cafe au lait dahlias. None of these are blooming yet. This is the Cafe conlesh. There's one that's almost in bloom, and then over here is another one of the Cafe conlesh. I get or I should say most of my tubers I do get from Eden Brothers. This is Small White Wonder. It's not blooming yet. It does have some buds on it. Then the next one is Apricot Desire. That one isn't blooming either, but this one, I'm so excited about this one. This is called Peaches. I'll try to shade it so you can see it better. But oh, that color is beautiful. Then I have some Cornell Bronze that aren't blooming. This one is called Rip City. It's like a blackish red. On this side of the dahlia patch, this is Romantic Mix. There's only the white dahlias from the Romantic Mix that are blooming right now. Again, these are from Eden Brothers. And oh, there is actually one pink one that is blooming. And then I have the Old Rose Mix. Love this antiquish. I don't know, it's like an antiquish, pinkish. I'll shade it for you so you can see it better. Kind of a deep pink, I should say. And then this one is a bit deeper, like more of a maroon color. And then just some more of the antiquish, pinkish color. This is a plant that I use for foliage. I'm going to shade it so you can see it a little better. But it is, I don't know, would you call that a periwinkle blue? And then it turns, once it's done blooming, it turns into these little lanterns. It's so fun to use in cut flower arrangements. Back here, I have some celosia. Actually, there's all kinds of things that are planted back here. I have some calendula. Those are so pretty. They're called an antique bronze. This is corn cockle. There's actually one in bloom over here. It's called corn cockle ocean pearls. Isn't that so beautiful? Then there is some white mignonette that's blooming. Some more statice right here. This is called Jewels of Opar, and it's like a fall blooming flower. So it's just starting to get its first sprays of blooms. This is what the cut flower garden looks like from the back. Isn't it so pretty? But I wanted to show you this back here. This area just feels so magical because it's kind of out of the way. Nobody really comes back here. This is the chicken coop flower bed. Oh, I love this area. I think this is my favorite space on our whole property. As we head back into the cut flower garden, there is actually quite a bit of celosia planted along here. There is one that I can't remember the name of it. It's like a bronzish color. And then I have some Dara in here. I don't use a whole lot of the Dara in bouquets unless I'm making them for myself. Because they do shed quite a bit, but I just love this plant for the pollinators. over here, the lisianthus have started blooming. See if I can give you a closer look. If you haven't grown lisianthus in your cut flower garden before, you need to. They are a beautiful plant. Look like roses. Here's another one. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus on it. Ah, it's so beautiful. The bells of Ireland are pretty much done blooming. There's still a few stalks that look nice, but for the most part, they're faded out. And then there's some crust that should be pulled and replanted. Then over here, Love in a Mist or Nigella. The flowers are sweet, but I love using these pods in flower bouquets. They bring so much texture to your bouquet. And then over here, there is some more cress. Still looks okay-ish. And down here, there's baby's breath and a random rudbeckia that planted itself. Pretty much everything you've seen growing in the cut flower garden, I either started from seed or from tubers. But let's head over to the west side of the garden now. Back at this corner, behind this grass that I showed to you, there is a clematis that is growing. These flowers are huge and beautiful. Then there is another hibiscus that is starting to bud up. And phlox, the lilies are, like I had said, are pretty much all done blooming. That's a peony back there. This is an lemony laced elderberry. And look, it actually has a few berries. The birds gobble up those berries. There's some more lilies, and the catmint is going for it. The bees absolutely love this plant. There's some alliums growing back here, a calla lily, some more peonies, and this is a ground cover. Every time I forget its name, I'm thinking it's Artemisia. If I'm thinking correctly, there's another lily that's actually in bloom. This flower is so beautiful and it smells so good. It has like a spicy scent to it. I have an iris over here. There's a few baptisias that I planted just this spring, so I haven't seen those bloom yet. There's some sedum over here and a reblooming lilac. So it bloomed beautifully this spring and now it's putting out some flowers again. Oh, love plants like that. There's some more peonies back here, and this baptisia I had planted last spring, so oh my goodness, it bloomed beautifully this spring. There's some more lilies back there, and this, okay, I have to think a little bit. This is a Brandywine viburnum. Had beautiful discs of flower this spring, as you can see. And this is a miniature Joe Pye weed that is pretty much done blooming. Have a 9 bark back here. I absolutely love this plant. It has the most beautiful foliage and the sweetest flowers in the spring. And then over here, the little fairy garden that some of you guys have recently seen me plant. Isn't it doing so beautifully? I love how the alyssum has filled in. This is a little honeysuckle, and then this is just like a moss kind of plant that grows over the soil. This is a miniature snapdragon. Isn't it so sweet? Now I did have a little bush. Can't remember what it was called, but it did die. But otherwise, everything is doing great and it looks beautiful. There is some butterfly flowers on each side of the fairy garden because I thought that would make it a little bit more magical, or make it feel more magical. And then this is a rose of Sharon. That is not in bloom yet. Okay, on the east side of the garden, I just needed to pop over here and show this to you. This phlox is looking absolutely amazing. The last time I showed it, it was just in bud. Oh, those blooms are gorgeous. And then over here by the garden shed, I have a climbing rose. I had thought it was dead this spring. No, it still needs to be trained. But look, it is blooming so beautifully. These flowers are so gorgeous. See if I can shade it for you a little bit. Oh, love them. All right, you guys, that is it for today. I'm thinking maybe next time I'll show you the flower gardens up by the house because there's some beautiful things that are blooming up there as well. Thank you so much for touring the garden with me and for being here today. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.